So the police caught you in the act, smuggling the narcotics over from Mexico to the United States underground like you're Toph from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, to get to the nitty gritty, the police were staking out a buy for less near the border in San Diego for approximately 6 months. 6 months! And they busted them finally on Monday. It was four compadres from Mexico, two from San Diego, all in it. They were definitely risking it for the biscuit, but in the end, their biscuits were the ones that got ate. So this tunnel is approximately 1,933 feet long, and it was underground about 55 feet. The space to crawl inside was about 5 feet, as you can see in the picture. In the United States, it goes from San Diego and ends up in Tijuana. So this specific tunnel has been under surveillance for approximately 6 months, give or take, since December of 2025. Let me paint a picture for you. All right, so picture the scene. You're in Cali, in San Diego. You're a police officer. You're getting your coffee, you're getting your donuts, and you and your team load up in a surveillance van. You go and you park and you're there taking notes. 6 months of tax dollars to pay them to watch this. I don't know how long they were watching it, but it says it's from December. I don't know how frequently. They had been monitoring it for that suspicious activity. And they had been seeing these goofy goobers in and out of the store. So this last day, this specific day, they were seeing like things that they always see. These goons going in and out with briefcases that were empty, so they've never really been able to do anything up until now that they found them loading up a van. So put your imaginary VR headsets on and imagine this. A van pulls up to the store, starts loading up the store, peeking around the corners, the glasses on. Once he gets everything loaded up, he closes up the van. He goes inside, he starts driving it to another location, and then he parks. Once he parks in this location, you see another goofy goober on a bike and gets right next to the gasoline cap. This is where it starts to get funny because you're doing this out in the open. Why? You're doing this out in the open. You take a look to the right, you take a look to the left, you open up the gas cap, you take some keys out, you start sneaking around back, you open it, boom. Another truck pulls up while he's doing this. A steak bed truck. Some more of these goofy goobers come out and start unloading the packages that were loaded up at the buy for less. What do they take out? They take out 3 freezers, put them on the truck, and they start filling it up with packages. I don't know how many packages exactly. I think it was like 220 something. But they get loaded up, they close up the van. After they were done filling up the freezers, and right before they were done, the guy that had came up on the bicycle, he tosses those keys underneath the van, and somebody else comes and picks him up, and he drives off. I don't know what's said about him. Maybe he got away, but another guy picks him up from under the van, turns on the truck, and takes off. And the truck takes off and the van takes off. All meanwhile, the surveillance van is still there. There must have been like 2 different squads, because, or maybe even more, there must have been a bunch of cops waiting to bust this specific day, because both that van and that truck got pulled over. Meanwhile that was happening, there was another van that pulls up to the buy for less, gets loaded up, and starts driving away. That one also gets pulled over. Alright, so ultimately, the 3 vehicles were pulled over, and a total of 851 packages were recovered, and in weight, it was about 2,269 pounds. Now, what was inside these packages? Nothing less than cocaine. 45 million buckaroos worth of that white powder. But the way that this all happened, man, it was so ridiculous, man. It was like if it was a cartoon script. It was so ridiculous. It was way too sloppy. I think it was one of those, look over here, jingle the keys over here, while Mr. over here is getting away with the bigger package. But it wouldn't surprise me if that was just something that they willingly gave up to the police so they can get off their case, and the police can look like they did something. Because ultimately, the cartels end up making tens of billions of dollars in drug smuggling, human trafficking, all kinds of stuff. So for them to be making 10 billions and this one was only 45 million, that was a drop in the ocean. And if you really want to look at it, you gotta take a look at those police officers, because man, they took 6 months to crack down on something that they were surveilling. How long have they been surveilling that for? That's a whole bunch of tax dollars that gets taken out of my paycheck and your paycheck to fund these guys that are, who knows what they were doing. All in all, the way that it was described, it was too cartoonish. I was laughing while I was looking up all the information, but that's pretty much it. What do you think? Leave a comment, like, subscribe, follow, do all that, share. See you in the next one.